I'm curious if you have some tips for our listeners on how to choose a tool.
Yeah, so make sure you evaluate what that tool provides out of the box. So a lot of tools have been trying to address niche cost areas that may or may not apply, but because they've added that to their basic bundle, they've had to, they've increased their costs in some cases, or the tool may cost more, or you may have to deploy things that you're not set up to deploy. So one example is Kubernetes. If you're not using Kubernetes in your environment and there's no plans to, you don't need a tool that reports on Kubernetes costs. So if the main focus is Kubernetes cost, you can look at some other tool that doesn't do Kubernetes out of the box, or it's an add-on that you can then deploy without needing to do that. The other big one for me is agents. So smaller organizations don't have the capability to deploy a lot of agents on all of their systems. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the manpower to maintain it. It's not something that they can support. So if there's a tool that can provide the data you need without deploying an agent to every endpoint, every device you have in the public cloud, that takes the burden of supporting it off of the sometimes one or two engineers that they have working on deploying this stuff, and makes it a lot more effective. Whereas if I had to wait for something to get deployed across our infrastructure, which is not very big, it may take a while because those teams are very busy. So look at how it pulls in data. Can it do it just out of the box with a connection, or does it need to have something deployed? If it needs something deployed, do you have the manpower? Do you have the infrastructure to support that? Not only just the initial deployment, but sometimes there's updates needed. Granted, you can skip updates a lot of times, but you may need to update it. Can you update that every, so often with the infrastructure and the resources that you have? You don't want to overburden your teams with this kind of stuff if you can take it off their plate. So in my case, I didn't have that infrastructure. I didn't have those teams to support agents. I don't have Kubernetes. I don't have a lot of native tools. It's a lot of lift and shift at the moment. So we went with a tool that offers basic reporting. All I needed was the API connection to be set up, and then I can handle it from there. And those teams are now then done and moved on to their next project, and I can start building my reporting and showing them the benefit of it without nagging them every day about, hey, do you have this installed, or do you have this configured? It helps out tremendously. So evaluate, in my mind, it's evaluation of what you're looking to report on, what you need. Cut out all the stuff you don't need. Don't look for tools that have every bell and whistle. A lot of them are starting to deploy DevOps and AI capabilities for deployments and auto management. Do you need that? Is that something that is necessary within your org? If so, great. If not, are there other tools out there that may be more cost effective, that don't have that functionality, which is okay, that you can deploy and get out of the gate, and then pivot.